Can you hear me, Alida? Hello. Can Victoria hear me? Yes. Ah, okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Can Herman hear me? All right. Good. All right. Great. So I think both Alida and Victoria are connecting. Is my voice all right though?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good. The sun is a bit okay. I'll see you. All right. So thanks. So I think today we got okay, Alida, okay, Herman and Victory. Okay. All right. So thanks out. Thank you for coming to this month's mastermind. Okay, that was sponsored by Professor Herman. and okay, so can Victoria and Alida hear me now?
Yes, hi everyone.
Okay, all right. Great.
Awesome.
Good morning. Thanks for joining. All right. Okay, so basically, before we start, I guess to share about why we're doing the mastermind and why it's important. Okay, I think it's always important to emphasize that, when we're going through life can get busy. Okay, I think it's especially for modern life, but it's important to sometimes to step aside, and do something a bit different. And that might involve some reflection, some review, some of the gains. So, all right, so this is what the mastermind is about. And today, actually, I like to do two parts. One is to share our gains and maybe get each other's feedback, okay, like what we have been doing. But for the second part, there is a small exercise. I'm thinking of maybe I can take you guys through it. It's something I actually just did myself from a member of my Benjamin Hardy's course AMP group. She's a woman called Betsy Burrow, and she has been doing marketing consulting for Silicon Valley companies for many years. And her session, some of her session charge about $1,500 per hour. Okay, so for 1 hour. Okay, I mean her one-to-one rate. Okay, but she's 73 now. Okay, and going strong because after being inspired by Dan Sullivan wanted to live to 156. So now she's looking to 120. And when she decided that 3 years ago, actually, as she shared with us, she actually started to become younger, okay, physically and mentally. Okay, so I think that was, she's in my pod group, so I meet her like every week, and she's this energetic lady. And she said she always hangs around with 20 and 30 years old as opposed to her age group. So I guess the lesson and the inspiration here is that I think we all have capability and potentials more than we can think of. Okay, a lot of times we're just conditioned by our, I guess, education surroundings and the environment, but maybe we're all capable for more. Okay, if you're inspired for it. Okay, even age seems like something that can, that works with your psyche and mentality. All right, so with that said, would that be all right? I mean, do you think you guys would like to try something she's shared with me? Okay, it's actually a way to quickly get your brain, your mind from the negative to the positive. Okay, in her language, from cortisol to dopamine. Okay, but I'll explain that later. All right. Okay. So let's start with sharing some wins and gains for the past month. Okay. All right. So I think maybe three. We'll do like 10 minutes each person. Okay. Would that be all right? All right. So who would like to go first?
I can go.
Okay, all right. So Herman, go ahead. Yeah. So please go ahead and share what's your
So I think I think that we've got good momentum going with the project. I think that's good. I think the I've made some progress with the MQTT expansion or extension to Spatial Pipes Up, and so that's nearly, oh well, that the first system is nearly working there, so I think that's good. And yeah, I think the momentum here is definitely a gain. We finally finished the first semester, all the things to do with the first semester, so that's definitely a gain for me. And yeah, I think I've been nominated to be head of the department again for the next 3 years.
Oh, okay. Congratulations.
That might be a bit of a loss for this project, but yeah, at least people think that I haven't been. There's some confidence that in what I've been doing for the past 3 years. So I guess that's a gain for me as well.
Okay. Nice.
What
Okay.
what was the other stuff we had to talk
Okay.
about?
So the other thing is you might want to share about what is your upcoming goal. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, and then is there something that's kind of maybe a challenge or something that you might want to seek the group's opinion or feedback about, right? That might shed some ideas or lights or to help you resolve that. Yeah.
So I think some of I mean, finishing this extension with this, that's definitely one of the goals. And then there's 1 or 2 papers that we need to rework and submit that again. One thing I think which I think I think the focus for the project is something that I think is still something that needs to be refined a bit in terms of like short-term goals, and so that when Regal or Josh joins, that it's like, oh, okay, this is what everyone's doing. This is the part. This is where we're headed, and this is the part where someone can actually also contribute. I think that's one aspect. I think that in the next month, I think, or I think can be improved, if I can put it like that. Yeah, so that people just have a better idea of where they fit in, if that makes sense. I don't know if the rest of Yelida and Victory also has a similar feeling. I see nodding heads, so that's good. So yeah, I spoke to one of my master students. He's actually working for a company. He's a part-time master student, and he's just finishing a sprint now. So they do agile development at work. And we also spoke just about his experience of agile and what's working for him, and that's work. And I asked him, more about that. And one thing which I thought was interesting from that is that he says when they do their feature planning, they usually talk about in terms of user stories. In other words, the next thing we want to do, a user must be able to do X, Y, or Z. And after that meeting with him, I thought, I wonder if for our project, we actually shouldn't think in terms of, okay, let's talk about what a user must be able to do, and then use that as a guideline for what we should be doing. But anyway, so that's my.
That's the feedback. Upcoming goals, right? Okay, okay, nice. So what's, I guess, something you might want to ask the group about? Is there something, or are there a specific challenge in terms of finishing the upcoming?
I mean, so one challenge is, I think I found that everybody's energy is flagging a bit. I don't know. It might be different for you, Shunyun, in Taiwan, because I think your academic calendar is different, or your year starts basically in September. I know, where does your, yeah. So it's, like we're
it's a 2 semester. So September, and the next one is usually February, March.
So this is kind of the start of the year for you.
The start, yes.
Yeah. While this is for us basically nearing the end of this year. Yeah. Okay. And one thing I found is that not only me, but also people around me, I can see that the energy levels are definitely not on an upwards trend, but on a lower. So that's definitely, I think, a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess any feedback? Okay, so I guess Herman's question, there's twofold, right? I mean, one is the how can we get people quickly to join and maybe get the focus of project more refined? And also the other thing is how can we get out of the energy slagging phase? Maybe for self and others around. All right, any feedback? Against anyone? Victoria or Lida? Have any thoughts on this?
Okay, for me personally, I was actually going to talk about that a bit as well. With the energy theme, I noticed a pattern. For example, when you take a jog, you plan to do maybe 10 kilometers, you sort of get tired at 8 kilometers or 9 kilometers. And if you plan for 20, you get tired at 18 or 9. Yeah. So there's definitely that factor. I'm not really sure the psychology analysis behind that. But for me personally, I think one thing was managing my body. That was something I don't think I did very well, especially in the last 2 weeks. So it was almost like when it was time to really work, there was a feeling of fatigue. Something I read was actually doing a jog every morning helps significantly. I think you've also spoken about that in the past, Union. Just jogging for maybe 30 minutes is
exercise,
helps.
right?
Yeah, just exercising for maybe 30 minutes in the morning. That might be a bit of help, but I've not tried it yet. So maybe I'll look into that. I'll look into that. Yeah.
All right. So any other feedbacks? Mostly.
With regards to the project definition, you're absolutely right about that. But I guess it's sort of a good problem to have, because it's sort of a problem you didn't really think of when there was no one to work on the project. So now that you have people to work to assist with the project, the question is, oh, what do we do give them? And it's just I think it's part of the process to a certain extent that it's the solution gives you more questions, which is good. When you try to solve a problem, it is in solving the problem that you find more questions, and you can go a bit deeper and deeper until you have the perfect solution or an optimized solution. So I think it's a good problem to have, and it's something I've also been thinking about in terms of just defining the components. And I think that's where the key word is, to just make it, the design should maybe be in component format. For example, when we say there's front end, what does front end look like? When we say there's back end, what does back end look like? What are the components of the back end? And I think the API would help significantly in that as well. And then we can break it down further. But for me, it's a good problem to have. So I'm not really, I think that's more of a gain than than a loss. Yeah.
Okay, an issue that sort of comes along with a game. Okay,
Yes,
new problem
yes,
to solve.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a. All right. So Alida, do you have any feedback regarding Herman's?
I think I agree with Victor about the project description. I always want to say. So I don't really have any feedback there, and unfortunately, I have no feedback on the because I got my COVID vaccine jab this week, so I've had quite bad symptoms. So I've been asleep the entire week. So I have I don't have any good ideas when it comes to that, because my entire week has basically been trying to stay awake. So yeah.
So is your energy levels high or low now?
My energy levels are finally coming back, which is wonderful.
Okay.
But I had
Okay.
zero energy for the entire week, so it's terrible.
Okay.
So I have absolutely no. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Alida. All right, so I guess some quick feedback for Herman regarding the I guess how people will fit in. I was thinking there's something called the impact filter. Okay, that's actually a simple tool. I don't know if I share that. It's for looking for people, actually developed by Dan Sullivan. And I think it might be nice to just fill out impact filters for the people we want to find, actually even before getting project members to join. And then, see like which one of these descriptions a person identifies the most, right? Because that way, I think we might be able to more see like what do we think about what's needed, because it's kind of like maybe figuring what needs to be done, the who's, right? And then try to find the right who's to fit into the roles. Okay, so I think if there's maybe such a process that the fitting might be faster and easier, okay. And if there's a mismatch, we can also identify maybe earlier, okay. And regarding the, I guess, the energy slagging part, actually, Ben Hardy talked about this in his end of month of last month, titled "Getting Out of the Slump." Okay, I'll see if I can get I'll try to get a copy of the video. Okay, or maybe a recording if I can. Okay, but I'll just quickly summarize what I remember from that. Essentially, there are many small techniques, small things you can do, and like one is to have quick wins. Okay, I mean, it's kind of seasonal, as you mentioned, you know, that people due to a certain time, they would start to slow down, and that one thing is to have some quick wins, meaning that small accomplishment to try to build the momentum ahead. Okay, so don't try to do something too big, just get some small thing done. Okay, and you know, get something from it. And the other thing is I think looking at time somewhat differently. Okay, like let's say, you know, Ben Hardy actually has, well, he talks about, I heard it otherwhere as well, the 90-day energy cycle. Okay, so actually Dan Sullivan does this as well. He has like a 20-year vision of what he wants to do, but he only thinks about 25 years and then the next 90 days and nothing much in between. And the reason is that if you are learning and growing, at the end of 90-day cycle, you can actually become you know, a better and a different person. Meaning that, you know, your considerations, your problem solving skills, how you look at things actually can be different. So you are a different person already. So, you know, there's not much sense planning too much ahead, because all the planning you do is based on your current assumptions and knowledge, which actually will change if you grow. Okay, so 90 days is a more sensible, you know, sort of cycle. So right now, actually, September is the close of a 90-day. So actually, it's sprinting towards your 90 days goal. Okay, so what Ben Hardy does is he set all these 90-day goals, right? And he also asks us, what's the big three, you know, for this 90-day cycle for this month? And you just sort of sprint towards that. So what this in effect does, interestingly, is each year you actually have 4 cycles. So you can actually get to live 4 years as opposed to 1. So most people have 1 year, but if you think about 90-day cycles of sprints, you actually have 4 years in 1. Okay, so I mean, it's just kind of how you look at things a bit differently. So as people may be like closing down, slowing down, actually it's time for us to sprint towards, you know, the end of September, right? So I think it's very, very true for Victory as well, right? I mean, actually, I think you probably isn't sluggish, right? You are actually pushing through the 2-week deadline, right? So you were actually sprinting. Okay, I guess that's a case in point. Okay, so
I'm trying, yes.
right. So I don't know. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, Herman. Okay,
Awesome.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay, all right, good. So just some thoughts. All right. So who will be next? Alida or Victory?
You want to go for it, Alida?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure. All right. So please share some of your wins of the past month.
So, well, the one is a win and a loss at the same time, because it's going to impact my time management skills quite a lot, because I got assigned to quite a big system at my job, which is a good thing because I'm not just sitting at work doing nothing, but it's a bad thing because I actually now have to work at work, which sounds terrible, but I mean, and then the other one is that I think I finally gotten a grasp on JavaScript, and I can now code continuously without Googling every single word I'm trying, which is making me feel a bit better about my just overall the project. And then I think my biggest, I want to say not problems, but is basically at the moment just time management skills, which has kind of been impacted by the fact that I have been half asleep the entire week. So that kind of delayed a lot of my project deadlines and work deadlines that I was trying to fix. So that's kind of out of my, like, it's not something I could do anything about really. But other than that, yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. So for the wins are I guess the new big task at work. Okay. And so what's the goal for you in the, I guess, the coming month? Is there like some big goal you like to
Yeah,
achieve?
I've tried. Well, I've started on it on Monday, but I've wanted to have a bit more of a clear set schedule of when I want to complete things, when I want to, because otherwise I tend to just kind of start with everything at once and then lose sight of what I want to do in a day, and then at the end of the day I have nothing done. So I'm trying to be a bit more. Oh, and I'm being called into another meeting. Hold on. There we go. I just need, on that point, I just need to be a bit more conscious of my time and what I want to complete in certain times.
So that, I guess that's the goal, and perhaps also a challenge, right? Is that
Yes.
okay, I see. So the goal is to, I guess, get better at this current situation
Yes.
of time. Okay, nice. So any feedback for Alida, I guess, from Herman and Victory?
So yeah, you're right. That's going to be more interesting for you. I have found that the times I've been, so some of the times I've been most productive in terms of time management and getting things done is when I take the first like 10 or whatever minutes I'm at work and just figuring out what is it that I actually want to do that day. And then the other thing I found really useful a number of years ago when I was doing development work was having one of these A4 little books. I mean, you can have the online equivalent of that if that's more suitable to you. But just at the start of the day, writing what you want to do, and at the end of the day, kind of reflecting on what you managed to do and what planning on doing the next day, I found that very, very valuable in terms of being productive. It's kind of like the idea of if you're if you're crafting something or if you have a workshop where you're building something, it's like that. You take that last 10 or 20 minutes of the day just to clean everything up, make certain everything is put away in its place, and basically preparing the workplace for the next day, for the start of the next day. And by doing, I mean, there's nothing, I find nothing as discouraging as starting work the new day and it's just a mess that I have to clean up first before you can actually start to get working. And this is kind of the workflow equivalent of cleaning your desk, tidying your desk, and planning what you want to do for the next day. So I found that to be quite useful, and in terms of making certain that I manage my time more effectively.
Nice, thanks, Herman. All right, so any feedback from Victory?
I was just gonna say this more or less the same thing. I think I had to buy books basically to just to keep track of like the daily tasks. You wanna like at the end of the day there will always be things to do, and the idea is you don't want to get distracted. So just by writing down what needs to be done, you don't remember the other problems. The other problems, you fix them, but they are not necessarily important in the moment, or at least for the day or in the short term. And the idea is you find out that you probably wouldn't get everything done. You won't get like 100% done, but you will get a lot compared to if you didn't like keep track. And which is what, I mean, that's the least you can ask for, right? That's but yeah, that's something that has helped me as well. Just getting your sleep schedule right. That's actually been it's been like a major major difference. I get good sleep now, so by getting good sleep I'm able to wake up early. And so when you wake up early for like the first 3-4 hours, you can sort of focus on one thing, maybe academic work, for example, and then continue the day with your general work. And then in the evening, maybe do another 1 or 2 hours for school work. And again, keeping track of what needs to be done, and then sleeping early. It means you probably have to stop watching series and TV, and geez, that was a hard sacrifice, but it makes a big difference. Makes a big difference, yeah. I think that's it from me.
Okay, nice. Thanks, Victor, for sharing your actual experiences. I think that's very valuable. All right. So Alida, I think I like to follow what Herman said, and there's actually a simple way to think of this is to set your big three. Okay, it might be a challenge at first, but it will be helpful to, sort of like what is the most important three things you want to accomplish, let's say for the end of the year, right? And then once you have that, you can actually narrow down to what's the big three for this month, right? And then for this week, and then for today. So following what Herman said, I just like to, like this is what we do and what also like Ben Hardy has taught us is at the end of the day, just write down the 3 wins for today. Okay, like what are your 3 gains or learnings? And then write them, decide what's the most important 3 things to finish tomorrow. Like this is before sleep. And then next day, when you start the day, you already know what's the most important priority for you. And then there's the concept of eat the frog. Okay, eat that frog, meaning you get the hardest, the ugliest, the one you don't want to face the most. Do it first, because when you just wake, you have the highest energy level and the highest, what's it called? Willpower. Okay, it's kind of like a battery. Willpower actually drains, as the day goes by. So if you try to tackle something difficult at the end of the day, that usually doesn't work well. But when it just started, that's when you have the highest energy. So eat the frog first. It's hard. Okay, it takes practice. I have to say I'm still practicing that. Like I have to seize the urge to do something quick and easy, and then remind myself there's the frog. Okay, I need to get that one done first before others. But if you can actually do that, it feels very good, because not only you resolve what's bothering you, but also that gives you confidence, right? And you get more relaxed if your big frog is done, right? First thing, let's say in the morning. So those are some, I think, something I'd like to feedback. All right. Okay, so Alida, hope that helps. Okay. All right. Is that all right?
It's perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Maybe just try. I mean, it's small, 5 minutes at the end of the day, and just see how it works. Yeah. All right. So Victory, maybe your turn. All right. So Victor, you'd like to go? Yeah. Go ahead.
So yeah. So first, for me, one of the key gains was the sprint. Again, it surprised me with the results. I didn't think it was possible. But though it's not been complete yet, but at least I can say I'm 80% there now, which is quite good. I think I'm just left with the what do you call that section with the insights, that the results from, and I should be able to do that and clean up the whole thing. I do want to do that this weekend. But the 2-week sprint was definitely an eye-opener, and it's actually putting me at a position where I'm thinking maybe I should do that for the thesis as well, where every 2 weeks I write a chapter. I'm not really sure how it affects the development work though, but it's a nice, it's a very good concept. I enjoy it. That was a gain for the project. Another gain was, I guess it goes into the project management role. I never knew I had it in me to be a project manager, so it's actually nice to try to just getting in that spirit. I know I'm not like the greatest project manager in the world, but the basically slotting into that role of breaking down the project, understanding the project components, understanding the project's needs, all that stuff is sort of coming in. Try to do some research as well as to understanding maybe the details I'm not thinking of, but it's quite a nice role, and it's something I'm definitely going to add to my CV in the future and say project manager for VAST project.
Excellent.
So that's a gain. I also like that the project is taking on some bill of structure, if that makes sense. Not just the project detail now in terms of the the partners involved, all the various it's quite nice to see. We're getting into a workflow pattern, which is quite nice. It's almost like if the workflow is consistent, there's a safety around, we should expect good results. Hard work consistent over a period of time usually breeds some really good results. So it's quite nice. In terms of upcoming next steps is, like I said, the thesis as well. I should start thinking about that. Basically getting into the development again, trying to basically go deeper into JavaScript. And I think now I can ask our leader for help, because now I know she's like the superstar. But yeah, getting into that, refining the project is a very key component, like Professor Harmon said, and maybe it's something we should look at as well, as a group. Just breaking down the various components, because there is quite a lot of components. The more you sort of go deep, the more you realize how vast the VAST library is. So yeah, it's define the project, refine bugs. I think the GitHub thing is something I never really considered until Raghav pointed it out, where you could just create issues and you can find developers. They don't even have to know the details of the project. Once it's clearly defined that, okay, you need a button here, you can just ask friends for help, please add a button, and they will do it and it will work. So there's that aspect. What else? I'm not sure if I missed anything. In terms of maybe challenges, I think I was talking about that in terms of the energy levels. I know the energy levels are there, at least in the past few months, I've been understanding that dieting and sleeping, those are like two key components for keeping the energy levels up. But I think the 2-week sprint sort of messed with my balance a little bit. And I also ate some junk food, so that did not really help because it was quicker and, but just in terms of like managing, I guess it goes back to the time management thing. There's time management, but basically taking it to the next level where I don't treat my body like a machine. I can sort of, or at least treat it properly in terms of when it's time to say no, or basically when it's time to go to sleep, when it's time to work, when it's time to not watch YouTube, all that stuff. I don't know if it's possible, because it's easy to say there's a lot of stuff, but at the same time, for some reason, I find time to, have leisure, which is something. If there's time for leisure, there should be time for work, and just finding that balance is, it's a big one, especially in the sprint with the sprinting context. But I'm trying to learn that on the go as well, so we'll see how that plays out. I think that's more or less the major concern.
Okay, I see. So can you maybe clarify a bit more? I mean, is there something you'd like to ask for feedback? I mean, something specific?
I think that's for example, the time part, the time management part, in terms of how do you do time management when you're sprinting, for example, right? Or how do you manage your body when you're trying to do agile development? Is it even possible? I think that's the big one.
All right. Okay, thanks. So I guess the question is, how can you still keep a kind of a balance, right? When you are actually sprinting towards something, right? Is that the question? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I guess any feedback from Herman or Lida? Herman?
No, I'm joking. So I think because I haven't actually been part of a team that like agile development or sprint development. Yes, I know it sounds weird, but I haven't formally been part of any such a team. I think it sounds a bit to me like you are when you're doing the sprint, you're basically working all hours and basically just pushing yourself to the max. And I don't think necessarily that's the idea of the sprint that you should be like tapping yourself completely out. It's like trying to run a marathon, but you are literally sprinting the whole time. It's just not just, you're not going to finish the comrades in that way, right? So it's about getting the pace that you should work out, which you work, while also having time to exercise and eat well and do those kind of things. So maybe the feedback I'm giving is that you shouldn't be working 24/7 during a 2-week sprint. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Herman. All right, anything from Alida? That's feedback from Tori.
I mean, I would guess the closest thing where I've been in something similar to a sprint is basically either for my Scriptsy or for something as simple as test week in university, where we had all of our tests in 1 week, and the week before you just make sure you know everything for those tests. And what I found what worked the best for me in that, because you can very easily, when you're on a flow, work for 2 weeks and then burn yourself out. And what usually works for me is to approach it like I would approach workouts, in the sense where I would have a rest day, I would always say, where you would work for like 3 or 4 days very hard, and then you would have like 1 day in between where you either do less work, or you just have a day where you kind of force yourself not to do anything, because that tend to help me with the day after that, because you're kind of a bit more refreshed, and or you just have that small break. It's kind of like having a small weekend in the middle of your work, just to have something to look forward to, but also have some time for your body to actually recover. Because I mean, I don't think a sprint workflow is made to be sustainable in the long run. I think it's more of you do it for 2 weeks or 30 days or whatever. I don't think it's something that you can do constantly, and not burn out yourself.
Not even for a year.
Not saying it's a good idea. It's possible. I'm not saying it's a good idea.
Okay, all right, thanks, Alida. Actually, that's very well said. My feedback is very similar. Okay, sprinting is actually not about doing work all the time. It's actually about you do have short bursts. It's kind of like going to weight training, right? To grow muscle, you have to work on your muscle for sure, but then you have to let it rest and recover. Okay, like what Alida said. So you can think of this either within a week, or even within a day. Okay, okay, I can share with you right now. I have installed what's called Free Day for my Saturday. I'm sorry, besides weekend, Wednesday now is a designated free day. This is also a Dan Sullivan concept. So basically, I pack like the majority of my work, 80% perhaps, in the first 2 days of the week. Again, this is like the 80-20. And then actually on Wednesday, I get a small break. Okay, and then you can do a bit more, right, on Thursday. So leisure is important, recovery is important for a week, but also for a day. Okay, so maybe try to determine like a time where you just like get off the grid. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess that's I guess a feedback. Okay.
All right.
And you do need to interleave between intensive training and also resting. That's for sure. Okay, that is very essential. Okay.
Now, usually I take breaks on Saturdays where I try to force myself. So 80% of Saturdays I'm not doing much. I only work maybe Saturday evenings.
Yes, that's good.
But even that, because I have to do like housework and stuff on Saturdays, so it doesn't really feel like a break. Because you're sort of like doing chores.
Right. But do note that though, the break is not necessarily don't do things. It's actually doing a different set of activities, right? That's kind of unrelated to what's your primary. I think this is also what Michael Jordan said. I mean, like when he take a rest, it's not like don't move and don't do anything. He just does something else. That's okay. That can kind of free your mind or your body. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Hope that helps. All right. So thanks everyone. All right. So because of I think the time, I think we'll just move to the next part. All right. Okay. So this is actually going to be fun. All right, and I like you to see it this way. Okay, I certainly had fun when I did it. So it's actually a technique developed by this lady called Betsy Boris. Okay, she's, as I said, 73 years old already, still going strong, very energetic, and she lives in San Francisco. Basically, this is something she has used for 20 years, over 20 years. It's very simple, and what she call it's called focus catalyst. Okay, the technique, but there's another term for this. Is called from cortisol to dopamine. Okay, so cortisol is the it's a hormone that when we are kind of feeling anxious and worried, and that gets cortisol. And dopamine is when we get highs, right? We're excited, we are happy. Like, okay, that's when you get dopamine. So the idea is that we sometimes get stuck, get nervous, get worried, get anxious because there's a problem, right? There's a challenge, there's something that's in front of us we don't know how to do, right? Okay, so we might get worried and the energy kind of goes down, the mood becomes negative. However, there's a quick way to get out of that. Okay, so this is what this whole thing is about. All right, so how do you actually do this? Well, I'll explain the theory first. It's actually very simple. It's there's something that concerns you, but there are also things that make you quite happy. Okay, so try to associate them together. Okay, and build the association. Actually build the neural connections. Okay, so you're actually doing something to your brain. So let's do with this exercise. Okay, so please, piece of paper, or you're typing on notebook, anything. Okay, so I'd like you to basically write down 3 things that kind of worry you the most now. Okay, so okay, just like 3 things that's kind of the top 3 things that's kind of on your mind, and that's giving you concerns, worries, and that's 3 things that really bothering you right now. Okay, so I'll give you maybe just 60 seconds, okay, to write down. I mean, just quickly. All right, okay, so let's start.
Just 3 things, or as many things as possible?
3 things, the top 3 things.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, just think of the top 3 things. Okay, so I think all is done. All right, you all have written down 3 things that's really bothering you now. Okay, all right. And I'd like to get a volunteer. We don't have time for everyone, but maybe just I'll try to get 1 person. Okay, so we can see how this works. Is there any 1 volunteer who would like to maybe share?
Okay, I can go.
Anyone? Okay, Victory. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. All right. So what are the 3 things that's bothering you?
Research.
Okay, research.
In terms of will it work? That gives me nightmares. Second, money or
Okay,
resources, right?
Okay. Okay.
3,
All right.
the future in
Okay.
terms of what does it hold.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of the uncertainty, right?
The uncertainty, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Good. All right. So those are the top things that's kind of really bothering you right now. Okay, good. All right. All right. So we'll do the second part now. And the second part is kind of interesting, which is, okay, so these are let me just say, when you talk about things you worry, you actually have cortisol, okay? Or when you are in the mood, that gives you cortisol, that causes you concern. Now, the second thing is fun. It's try to come up with 3 favorite things of yours. Okay, any favorite thing that kind of comes to your mind. Okay, and also it doesn't have to be like, like the most favorite, just anything that comes to your mind, like what's your favorite thing, brief but specific. Okay, and like when I mean specific, for example, like when I was doing the session, I talk about one of my favorite thing is going for a jog. Okay, that's like an hour-long jog. That's relaxing. That is, I'm thinking stuff. I'm having new ideas. I just kind of blend with the environment, and kind of disappearing myself, right? And I'm sweating. I am, but I'm thinking of something, and occasionally I get an insight, right? I actually did 4 knowledge product courses because I had this hour-long jogging session. Okay, so something concrete came out and actually like got myself extra income, things like that. All right, so I guess the 3 favorite things. Okay, just whatever I came to. So brief but specific, and you can maybe also write down like reasons why they're your favorites, right? Okay, all right, so I'll also give you like 60 seconds. All right. So as detailed, I guess, as specific as possible, can involve your, like maybe your favorite restaurant, if it's food, like what's the taste? Okay. But, like not just Italian restaurant, but like there's a specific dish. Okay. But it can be, anything that's that brings you fun memory, great pleasures. All right, we have about 10 seconds, so just finish up. Okay, all right, so are you guys all done? Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask Victoria again, okay, because I'm using you as an example, all right? Okay, so maybe you can share with us what are your 3 favorite things?
I think the first one would be adventures, taking trips, because it actually relaxes me significantly. It refreshes me. Second,
any what kind of trips usually? I mean, like where?
like
What kind of,
basically away from where I live. So,
Okay.
for example, the outskirts of Western Cape. Or
okay.
somewhere.
That's a specific place, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The outskirts.
Nice. Okay.
Adventure, basically.
Okay. Adventure.
Yeah.
All right.
Second, that makes me really happy is when you build stuff successfully. For example, say you build a circuit and it works on the first attempt. Like, oof. Yeah, that's when you do something and it actually works, or you create something. When I create something and it actually works, that makes me really happy. It gives me some of, I don't know. Yeah, it feels really good. I think the third one, and this is probably, I don't know how to quantify this, but when you get an SMS alert that money came in, even if you don't need the money, there's just that, oof, yes, you feel like you own the world, basically. So there's also that. Oh, 3 things. Yeah, that's the top 3.
Okay. Nice. So kind of the result, the work you produce get recognized, right? It's kind of almost like
Yes,
it
yes,
gets
yes.
recognized.
It's rewarded.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
rewarded.
Rewarded.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
good. Okay. Okay. All right. Nice. Nice. All right. Okay. So now what I want you to do, okay, and you, I mean, Alida and Herman, you can do this, on your own, alone, okay, as well, is right now I'm going to give you a set of random numbers, okay? And this is actually something that can be, get it from like a site like random.org, okay? I just learned of this site, I think yesterday. So let me see. So this is kind of a random number generator, So this is nothing. That's I did not pre-do this. Okay.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3. That's generate. Okay. All right. So I think, okay, all right. So the first number is 3. Okay, just record that. The second number, okay, is 3 again. So we just drop that. Okay, 1. So 3, 1. Okay, it's 3, sorry, 3, 1. So the final one is 2. All right. Okay. So I mean, just do something random. All right. And I just try to show that it was indeed random. Okay. Okay. I got this off the side. So what happens now is that you try to match up your concerns or worry with what makes you happy, your 3 favorite things, okay, in that sequence. So for example, I'll use Victoria as an example, all right? Our sequence has been 3, 1, 2. So what this meant is that your first thing that's giving you a headache, concern, research work, okay, it's matched with number 3. So when you produce excellent results, money comes in, okay, it's that one, okay? And for the second concern, where lack of money or resource, that's matched with 1, which is adventure, away from outskirts, okay? And for victory, the third one, right, it's the future, uncertainty, where that holds, right? And this is matched with the second one, which is you build stuff successfully, you create things that work, and you feel good, all right? Okay, so right now, what I like to do is to, think of the first problem, challenge, okay? And then just kind of think about, you can close your eyes or you can open, it's fine, just relax. But when you are, think of your first concern and then just try to think of, the third favorite thing. So I'm going to do this with Victor, okay? To just show you. So Victory, so think of your first, your concern, right? Okay, and I'm going to read you what you just told me about your third favorite thing, okay? So you talk about when you produce excellent results, money comes in, that kind of yes feeling, you own the world, you get rewarded, you get recognized. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So how does it feel? And can you, okay, so can you maybe share with us what, the first was about research, right? The research work, that's kind of, and now I'm trying, and I ask you to, think about your favorite, third favorite thing. So any feelings, any ideas, any insights that kind of came in?
Wow. Okay.
Would you like to share?
I'm beginning to see, man, yeah. Okay. The insight I can see from that is research can bring me money if it works.
Okay. So you got that kind of association, that idea, that insight.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Okay. All right.
Wow, that's interesting.
All right. Okay. So the idea concept behind, again, is to dopamize your cortisol concern, okay. And one reason why this is important, again, Okay, let's go through this whole thing and I'll explain the theory behind. Okay, I mean the logic. So the second thing you talk about the lack of money, right? Resources. Okay, this is your second concern. I'd like you, okay, I will read about, you know, your first favorite thing. So you think of your concern, but then, okay, so your first favorite thing is about adventures away, you know, just think of having adventures and away from where you live, you know, to the outskirts, you know, having explorations. All right. Okay, so when you think about that, when you try to associate that, I guess anything that kind of you come to your mind, you realize?
I think it's maybe two things. Or for starters, for example, I know the resources can give me the opportunity to do more adventures and relax even better.
Okay.
And also, there's the reverse thing where the adventures can actually distress me a little bit from money and resources. Like from thinking about
okay,
what's wrong.
Okay. So you can digress, right? Okay. Okay, nice. So it could be a way to address that, right? Okay. All right. So let's try the third one. Okay. So the third thing that kind of causes you concern is future and where does it hold, right? Kind of where does this you kind of feel uncertain. Now try to think of the second thing that brings you joy, and that's your favorite thing, which is about, you know, building stuff successfully, like when you build circuits and you make it work at the first attempt, you create something that works, that makes you feel good. Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. So anything comes from that?
I think what comes from that, I would say is in a future where I can build stuff successfully, I'm happy. Whether or not, okay, there's no financial connection there, but whether or not there's the money in, or, you know, research, or if I'm happy, if I can build stuff successfully, then the future looks bright. Or if things work out in the future, if the stuff I built works, then the future is sort of, you know, more certain. That makes sense. All right.
Okay. So the future will become more. I'm sorry?
I'm so sorry for interrupting. I have another meeting I have to go to now.
Sure. All right, Alida.
So sorry.
You get the picture,
thank you
right?
so much.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Watch the recording for the end.
Thank you very much.
Do this on your, yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Great weekend.
Sorry.
Thanks, Alida.
No problem.
Bye.
Take care. All right. So, all right, that's great. Okay, Victoria, that's great. So you kind of sort of see that if you can build successful stuff, your future actually can be more certain and bright, right? Okay, okay, all right. So, all right, so I guess going back a bit about the principle of what we're doing here, when you have cortisol in your brain, which is, you know, when you think of stressful, concerned situations, that actually pulls blood out from your brain to your muscles, okay? Because it's a primal fight or flight response, but that actually makes us stupid, okay? In the sense that there's less blood in the brain, so, you know, you can't really think clear about solutions. You might be ready to fight or flight, right? More able physically, but if the situation requires thinking, finding solutions, that actually isn't a good state to be in. So this process gets us quickly back into a state of feeling good and having blood in our brain and think of potential solutions. In fact, when we feel bad, it's usually because we don't see any options. We don't see a way out. We don't have ideas how to resolve that, right? We don't see the solution. But what this does is it randomly makes neural connection, literally, between things you're concerned, you're fearful, with things you actually like and enjoy, and kind of make that fearful thing into something enjoyable. Okay. And by doing that, you actually will become more creative and, might figure out solutions. So another way that Betsy talked about how you can utilize this is go by 3x5 cards, those small cards, note cards, okay?
Yeah.
And when you are, like, say, going out or maybe taking a walk, like what she does is she has a walk like every Sunday with a friend in the forest. What she would do is she would write down on one side the concerns, okay? On the other side, the favorite things, okay? And again, match up randomly. And then just, take it out, look at both sides, and then just like maybe going for a walk, and then after a while take it out to see it again. And by seeing both the concern and also the favorite thing, that actually causes new neural connections, to get connected. And you might generate ideas, insights, discoveries, solutions by doing that. Okay, and get you out from the anxious, depressed state. Okay, so all right. I hope this is something that's been fun. And I don't know, Herman, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it now.
Okay, and it's something you can share with your family as well.
Yeah.
For family and friends. This is,
Yeah.
I think, a fun exercise, even with kids. It's kind of a fun exercise. Okay. All right. So I guess to conclude our mastermind, maybe we just, again, something you learned today and something you plan to do, like one action item. So Herman, you'd like to start?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this technique is very interesting. I think it's a good way to, also motivate oneself. So I'm definitely going to try that. And then one of the goals that I know, is just to finish this, this work for the MQTT extension that I've been doing. That's one of the things that I want to finish, and then do that impact filter to refine what we need.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'll send you the impact filter. Okay. Right after this. Okay.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. So Victoria, what's the one thing you learned and one action you want to take?
I think the key lesson is it's actually quite shocking how much they overlap, the things that worry me and the answers to the things that worry me. So that's a very good, it's nice to also see what I actually want on paper. Because sometimes you overthink things. And next key step for me is, I think, the what's the word now? Just research wise now. I'm just getting into the workflow. Or should I say refining the workflow, making it like
more smoother,
efficient,
right?
yeah, efficient, robust, structured, and then build on top of that framework. Yeah.
Incremental improvement, right?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. Great. All right. So I think for me, the one thing I learned is that I always try to practice what you just learned. Actually, Betsy just did this to me yesterday, and I'm sharing with you guys. Okay. But interestingly, by doing this, I get better, a better impression and a better appreciation of the technique and why it works and how it works. Okay. So I think learning something and teaching to someone else quickly, that actually enhance the learning. You actually learn it twice. Okay. I think that's kind of sort of reinforce that concept. It's a good way to, I guess, accelerate your learning, one's learning. If you learn something and teach it quickly to others. And the action I'm going to take is I'm going to share this with my wife and my kid. Okay, tonight. And nice. Just to see what's the how they like it. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So I think this is a fun exercise. That life is fun. Life should be fun. And it's oftentimes, we're taking the wrong perspective, I guess. So by gamifying a bit and taking the right perspective, it can always be a game. I think that's kind of also the lesson. All right. So thank you guys so much. And I hope you find this last hour very helpful and useful. And
Yes.
okay.
Seems
So
very helpful.
maybe we'll see on Monday then, right?
Monday, yes, definitely. With
Okay,
some
all
really
right.
great
Cool.
news.
Okay. So thanks, Herman and Victory.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
Have a
everyone.
great weekend. All right.
You
Yeah.
too.
Take care. Yeah. Take care.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.